Oh, wow. These people are interesting.
I need the city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap?
Yep. Now imagine what the CIA is going through as Donald Trump has just announced that he had a great conversation with Russia, specifically when it comes to a common sense deal and approach to ending that larger war here, which has always been a larger excuse for them to do drug and human trafficking for, as we have gotten major announcements from U.S. government officials, as clearly Donald Trump is on a rampage when it comes to getting rid of government waste. There are a few judges, lots of them activist judges, some of the judges connected to actual loved ones and family members to the aid that Donald Trump has been cutting, that have been, of course, speaking out and ruling against him. But overwhelmingly, this rampage against USAID also was something that the Russians were previously warning about. As if you remember, not so long ago, there was a very prominent Russian general that was assassinated in his own home in Moscow in a CIA-style takeout operation that leaves a lot of people questioning, what was he warning about specifically? We'll get to that in just a second there. But again, the corporate media ruled that it was Russian propaganda. Specifically, their larger criticisms of USAID that they alleged was supporting radicals around the world and financing a lot of illegal covert operations through their intel agency connections. And now it looks like the Ruskies were right here. Specifically, one Russian general that was blown up in his home that published information about USAID funding the bat coronavirus in Wuhan. Yes, you heard that correctly. This man right here, just a few months ago, came out and said USAID, the Soros Foundation, the Bidens were connected to bio labs that were being built and operated with U.S. control inside of Ukraine, working on biological weapons. Now, do we have any kind of official confirmation of this? No, but we do have the news that this guy was assassinated in a CIA-style operation as he was exposing a CIA operation. As we know, USAID was actually financing the larger kind of gain-of-function research, which weaponized a bat coronavirus inside of the Wuhan laboratory. We know that is for sure. Whether it was being originally done in Ukraine or not, we do not know, as the circumstances surrounding this have literally created us to just kind of try to understand and pick up the larger pieces of what remains here to try to understand the larger picture of what unfolded here, since this was a major event. And as soon as this assassination happened on this Russian general, we told you, hey, this guy was talking about some wild, crazy stuff, and he was probably assassinated by the Ukrainians because he was doing that, as the Ukrainians have received significant training from the CIA that has been embedded within it ever since 2006, ever since the successful Maidan Revolution in 2014, which the intel agencies, USAID, John McCain, and other larger kind of neoconservative warhawks were all there pushing, provoking, and building up to this larger scenario that has ended up in this full-on global war that has took the lives of what people estimate to be nearly now 2 million young Slavic lives. That's the estimates there. You know, again, the corporate media is like, oh yeah, it's like 100,000, 200,000. No. When you look at the amount of life loss, specifically on those planes, specifically with advanced military weaponry, there's larger estimates now that 2 million people have lost their lives as the war still continues. Russia just launched another attack on Kiev. Kiev is now going after the energy infrastructure of Russia, attacking a lot of refineries and a lot of energy production facilities inside of Russian territory with advanced U.S. military ballistics. This as the fighting still begins, as the Russians are slow crawling and having significant progress in the Donbass eastern part of Ukraine. where there are still ongoing battles and conflicts, where they are slowly and surely gaining more territory as the Ukrainians, a lot of them are demoralized, a lot of them are deserting their post there, and the situation really does not look good for them, especially with what Pete Hegseth, our defense secretary, just said specifically a couple minutes ago when it comes to these large negotiations.
Want, like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective. Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. A durable peace for Ukraine must include robust security guarantees to ensure that the war will not begin again. This must not be Minsk 3.0. That said, the United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
Wow, very strong words with a lot of severe ramifications for the Ukrainians that they probably are not happy about, as Donald Trump just released this larger message. But before getting into that, we want to tell you about one of the sponsors of today's show, and that, of course, is The Wellness Company. They do a lot of really cool, awesome stuff, as, of course, what if the next global health crisis isn't just a pandemic, or is it a part of a much darker plan? It's no coincidence that Dr. Anthony Fauci started on January 1st, 2014. This marks a pivotal moment in history, the year the Obama administration and the four-letter agencies took control of Ukraine. Shortly after, Fauci spearheaded controversial gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses in biolabs. This is strategic bioweapon production, a threat that has been brewing for over a decade. As if this wasn't disturbing enough, a new finding points to Pfizer's bribe payments to the FDA to get their bioweapon disguised as a procedure approved for mass use. This coordinated global development wasn't just about public health. It's about power, control, and profit. And coincidentally, the media is sounding the alarms about a new strain of bird flu, one that could spread rapidly, wiping out populations and overwhelming healthcare systems. This is why you need the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit, engineered by Dr. Peter McCullough and his medical board, including 5 life-saving medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Tamiflu, and a nebulizer designed to protect you from the next global threat. Ordering is simple. Fill out a digital intake form, and your kit arrives in 1 to 2 weeks. Don't wait for the next outbreak to catch you off guard. Stay ready for the unexpected. Go to twc.health/Luke and use code Luke to save $32 off of this order. Plus, you get free shipping. twc.health/Luke. Use code Luke. It is in the description, and we thank this company for working with us, for supporting us, and being there with us, a part of this larger kind of independent media that is now growing and expanding all during the Trump years. As a lot of the stuff that they have available, I have right here. I have in my cupboards. I'm very happy that I do, as of course we are living in very unpredictable, very crazy times that, let's be honest here, are only going to get crazier. Crazier good or crazier bad, it doesn't matter. It's going to get crazier, especially when we have announcements like this from the current president of the United States that is hinting at a larger peace deal between Russia and the United States, stopping their larger proxy war inside of Ukraine. This is a major deal here, as of course Trump talks about the history between Russia and then the United States, the former Soviet Union, that worked together during World War II. He talks about the larger kind of extensive ties that they have here. And more importantly, he specifically goes off and says, President Putin even used my very strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it. We agreed to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations. We have also agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately, and we will begin by calling President Zelensky of Ukraine to inform him of the conversation, something which I will be doing right now, as he has announced that John Ratcliffe will be joining the larger kind of negotiation teams kind of moving forward here as a new appointee to the federal government. Also probably will be doing a lot when it comes to trying to broker this peace deal. That, of course, being Tulsi Gabbard, that in the making of this video was just confirmed as the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, highlighting once again, the likelihood of a peace deal has just gone up dramatically. This is a big deal. This is a big announcement, as, of course, Donald Trump also publicly says he wants China to play a major role in Ukraine, as China has a lot of extensive trade ties with Ukraine, as well as Russia, as the two have been working on drone production, this new form of warfare that is absolutely brutal, that the Russians and Chinese have been kind of collaborating with and working with behind the scenes with, as reported by Reuters today, as they're getting some information from the Estonian intelligence there, as clearly the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, and a lot of other countries are developing a lot of advanced drone tech that seems to be changing the landscape of modern warfare in all of the worst, most horrendous possible ways. Now, another good sign that peace is coming here to Ukraine and to the Slavic nations and to the rest of the world, since, we were just on the brink of a full all-out nuclear one-on-one confrontation, of a full one-on-one biological confrontation with gene-specific bioweapons that could have been released here. Yeah, we were that close. Now we are moving towards a different pathway, a pathway that hopefully likely diverts us from this larger trajectory. As, again, anything could still happen. There still could be larger sabotage efforts. There still could be larger attacks. If this peace deal fails, God, pray for humanity. I hope it doesn't. It can't. But if Trump is able to successfully negotiate this, he will go down as one of the best statements ever, because unwinding this ever so complicated war with long historical ties there, as there's a lot of bad blood there. Ukraine is essentially a larger kind of representation of the Afghanistan of Europe, as I have always described it. Major wars, major conflicts have always been fought inside of Ukraine, the breadbasket of Europe. But right now, when we are having demonstrations like this of American hostages being sent back to the United States from Russia, this signals, hey, they want to make a deal. They want to make it. They want to negotiate here. They're negotiating in good faith here. And Donald Trump is looking out for his fellow American people that are behind bars in Russia, as the United States expects now the second U.S. hostage to be released by Russia today, highlighting how these negotiations are working. They are freeing people, and we are moving in a way that signals larger peace deal. Peace that has, of course, been far too long denied to the people of Ukraine, denied to the people of Russia, denied to the people of all of Europe and the rest of the world, as employees who stand in the way against Donald Trump and his agenda are being fired. Will they act in some kind of desperate way to try to sabotage these larger kind of peace deals and negotiations? Well, I hope not. I'm keeping my eye out on it. I'm very happy to see the progress that is being made here, and I hope, I pray that this peace is long-lasting. I hope that Russia and Ukraine come to the negotiation table. They both won't get everything that they want, but at least they will get the end of this larger conflict. I hope it's a fair deal. I hope both countries are going to be happy with the deal, but I also hope both countries are not going to be happy with the deal as well. At the same time, you want them leaving the negotiation table with kind of mixed feelings there, because, again, you don't want one side to think that they're overwhelming winners here. You want both of them to think that they're winners and also losers, and that they had to give up at least something here. So we hope, and again, such a complicated situation, so many years of history, so much money, so much involvement, that unwinding this, man, I would not wish this larger ordeal on anyone. But having these conversations, having this diplomatic rise is I think amazing to see. If you agree, share this video. Thank you for our sponsor for working with us. twc.health/Luke. Promo code Luke. 10% off of your purchase, $30 off, and you get some really great stuff that you never know when you will need in the case of any kind of emergency. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/WeAreChange.